From the campus of West Virginia State University, you're watching WVSU Newsline.
Welcome to another episode of WVSU Newsline. I'm John Cantiz.
And I'm Forrest Carter. And today we'll be taking a look at some of our favorite Newsline stories from the past year.
That's right. You know, here at WVSU Newsline, we try to bring you the best and most interesting West Virginia-related stories that we can find. And this episode is a collection of our favorites.
We'll start out with the event Bridge Day, which happens every year in Fayetteville, West Virginia. Last October, I decided to check out the event and I had a great time. If base jumping, canoeing, or zip lining sounds like something you would be into, then you're going to want to pay close attention to this.
Every October since 1977, nearly 100,000 people gather in Fayetteville, West Virginia to commence the building of the longest and highest vehicular bridge in the world, known as the New River Gorge Bridge. This gathering has turned into one of the most popular festivals in West Virginia, known as Bridge Day. On this day, it's the only day of the year that you can legally base jump and rappel from the 876-foot high bridge. Spectators from all over the globe come to see the jumpers in action. I spoke with Tim from Pittsburgh about his first time here today.
Yeah, we finally decided to get our butts out of bed and get down here and watch this.
Several safety precautions are taken before you can even jump from the bridge. For example, you must complete many successful jumps via aircraft before you can take a leap from the bridge to the New River below. Cassie from Arlington, Virginia, gives tips on how to be an expert jumper.
There's no other thing. I mean, skydiving, do that. If you love that, you can try this. It's a progression from skydiving to here. You don't just go do it on your own, but you can tandem here. It's expensive, but it's worth it.
Even a light rainfall couldn't stop Carl Edge from Athens, Georgia, who clued us in on how it felt to be a first-time base jumper.
This is incredible. I did my first jump today, ever base jump. I've got over 400 skydives now, and the experience today was equivalent to my first skydive. It was just completely different. I haven't had that nervousness, fear, or excitement in years. And, it was great.
Despite the cold, rainy weather throughout the day, spirits remained high, and people both young and old watched in excitement as hundreds of men and women jumped from the bridge. I spoke with Tom Brown II from Monsoon, Massachusetts, with his son, who have been base jumping together for the past 10 years, for his opinion of today's event.
Oh, there's a lot to like about it. You know, right now talking to you guys is great. You know, there's nice folks down here. You know, it's just a thrill and a lot of fun to do it, you know.
Down below on the New River, there were many other activities going on, such as whitewater rafting, canoeing, and picnicking. The whole festival was a large celebration of all things West Virginia. Reporting live for WVSU Newsline, I'm Forrest Carter.
Great story, Forrest. You know, Bridge Day looks like a lot of fun, although maybe a little dangerous for my taste.
It was really fun, and you'll have the chance to check it out next October. And it's a lot safer than you think.
All right, if you say so. Another outdoor event that we have is the New River Birding and Nature Festival. And it's one of the best places to go if you want to experience a part of our unique wildlife up close.
Wild, wonderful West Virginia is well known for whitewater rafting and other sports. What it's not so well known for is bird watching, but maybe it should be. I'm here today in Fayetteville, West Virginia for the New River Birding and Nature Festival. It is just such an awesome opportunity to show people another side of West Virginia.
Well, today we'll have about 50 or 60 people total, and that number will grow throughout the week and change. Some people come and go. So we'll do about 100 people a day by the end of the week.
Well, I'm authorized by the federal government to put up what we call mist nets, which you've seen. Look like giant hair nets, about 42 feet long and 8 feet tall. And when you put them up against vegetation, they kind of blend into the mist. That's why they're called mist nets. And we put those up, and the birds come along. They can't see the net, and they get caught. We take them out, don't leave them there very long, and put them in lingerie bags usually to transport them back to the banding table. And then we do a series of measurements, identifications, and then put the band on the bird's leg.
I got to get the band on that really short tarsus.
I also go in the winter to Central America, where Ernesto Carmen, who's a Costa Rican national, and I band hummingbirds. And those hummingbirds that we band there may come back to the U.S. And in fact, we've had one from Costa Rica show up in Savannah, Georgia. That was the first time a hummingbird had ever been banded on the wintering grounds and found again back here on its breeding grounds. So we got one piece of data from that bird and let it go.
We started coming to the birding festival 5 years ago. I cannot imagine spring any longer without spending our time here in the New River Gorge. And even over the 5 years that we've been coming, we've noticed the inclusiveness of the attention that's paid to the wildflowers, to the plants, is equally important to a number of participants, as are the birds. So if I were just to say to somebody, do you like to be outdoors in the beauty of nature in an absolutely gorgeous part of the continental United States, where the welcome is as warm as it's possible to be, the food is good, the friendships that you develop become friends that you care about over time, this is the place to come.
And the reason this place is special, Cornell University identified it a long time ago as a critical stopover habitat for migrating species of birds. You don't find places on the East Coast that have this kind of lush environment.
We're situated right now in the Appalachian heartland, and the Appalachians are really one of the most biologically diverse areas of the whole country. And it's primarily because you've got all these hills and valleys, you've got a lot of rainfall, and you've got really moderate temperatures. It's not super, super cold or super, super hot. As a result of that, there's a tremendous plant diversity, many kinds of wildflowers and trees and shrubs. There's also the subsequent diversity of bird life. A lot of those birds may feed on insects that are also diverse, that feed on different species of trees. And so the combination of all those things.
One of my favorite things about the Bird Festival is letting people know new things about that they spend every day with and don't have any idea. So it really does open people's eyes to the common and makes it really special for them.
The birds are really unique. We don't have a lot of these birds down in the Piedmont region of North Carolina. And frankly, this is one of the only nationally renowned birding festivals in the area.
We get to see such a variety of warblers and other birds. And you not only get to see them, you get to hear them, you also see their flight pattern, you get to really watch their behavior, because for me, I don't just like, glancing at a bird and writing it down. I really want to look at it. So we really get an opportunity to get good looks at birds. So there's no bird in particular that I got good looks at, just so many.
And then once you get to know birds, they're so beautiful. I mean, looking at them through binoculars, you just don't appreciate all the color and detail that you see through a pair of binoculars.
The desire to learn, birds, because of this lush environment, sometimes are hard to spot in a tree, but the more you know about their call and know about where they might be in the understory or a canopy bird, the easier it is to see them. It's a great indicator of how well the environment is or isn't doing, what kind of changes are out there. I get interested because they're just fascinating, beautiful creatures.
You can get started bird watching in your own backyard. All you need is a field guide and a pair of binoculars. For more information on New River Birding and Nature Festival, go to their website at birdingwv.com. The Department of Natural Resources also can give you information on birding. Or for a private guide, contact birdingpal.org. For WVSU Newsline, I'm Marta Tankersley.
That was one of my favorite stories because of the great looking West Virginia scenery.
Yeah, it really looked great. Unfortunately, one thing that threatens our environment is the contamination of our water. And in West Virginia, we had a truly concerning water situation earlier this year. It's no secret that West Virginians occasionally have to deal with contaminations of their drinking water. However, in January of 2014, one of the largest water contaminations to have ever taken place in West Virginia happened. Hundreds of thousands of West Virginia residents' water was deemed unfit to drink when a coal cleaning chemical, MCHM, was discovered leaking out of a barrel directly into the Elk River, which happens to be an intake for the West Virginia American Water Treatment and Distribution Center. I caught up with Secretary of State Natalie Tennant to see what she thought.
I think that as the situation continues, and it does continue to unfold, that the main point that we need to be here is to tell us, the residents, how you are determining what level is safe, how it is safe, how you're doing testing, how you're doing cleanup. I mean, we are at the bare basics here, and I think that you restore confidence by taking one step at a time, and in each of those steps, explain what you're doing. For me, in looking at this situation, my first reaction was obviously the safety and the well-being of West Virginians and how do we take care of them. So I was on the water lines with people as they were waiting in line to get water or to get their jugs filled, and I found that here are managers, here are store owners, here are employees who are not able to work because they don't have the water that they can use. And so, that hurt our businesses in West Virginia, and that hurt employees and people who depend on a salary from day to day. And I think that if it is in place, there needs to be inspections, there needs to be investigations, there needs to be oversights.
Weeks later, many West Virginia residents are still wary of their drinking water, although state officials have given the all clear. This is John Canties reporting for WVSU Newsline.
Thank you for doing that story, John. It's important to highlight the severity of that situation. The health of West Virginians is really important.
Yeah, it really is. And just as important as physical health is mental health. And a lot of people are taking the initiative and getting issues addressed like bipolar disorder.
Barbara Singley walks us through her very personal struggle with bipolar disorder and what she did to address it.
I spoke with Barb Singley of Teays Valley, West Virginia about her experiences dealing with bipolar I disorder. Like so many people in the Mountain State, she went undiagnosed for several years. Here is her story.
I was diagnosed at the age of 46 with bipolar disorder 1. There's also bipolar disorder 2. The difference is one has rapid cycling, which means you could go in and out of manic to depressed several times a year, sometimes within a week. Bipolar 2 has longer periods between the two, throughout the year. Just spent years either really super depressed. In fact, I checked myself into 3 different hospitals over the years for my depression because I just couldn't function. I couldn't deal with my 3 children. I was always really mean to them, to the point, I'm sure at some points, some people would have thought that it was abusive. I didn't beat my children or anything like that, but I was so hateful with them, and I feel really horrible that I feel like I kind of ruined their childhood not being diagnosed, and I was just short with everybody. I was just miserable. It was a miserable 25 or so years. Definitely either research it first, take some kind of an online assessment, contact somebody. A lot of people don't have insurance, which is really, really tough. There are places such as West Virginia Health Right, Prestera, who either have sliding scale fees or, whatever. A lot of people now, because of the Obamacare, which a lot of people dislike, I feel fortunate because I can get a Medicaid card now and get my medications and go to the doctor, for free. It's very expensive to go to a psychiatrist, which keeps a lot of people from going. If you don't have insurance, if you don't have insurance, medications are extremely expensive, even with insurance. So, but you can't let that stop you. It's like a whole new life. I feel very, very fortunate because I know a lot of people who just live miserably. The medications work just fine for me. I don't even see my psychiatrist maybe once a year. I don't have a psychologist right now or a counselor. I don't really have a lot of issues. I have a lot of drama in my life. I go to college, I've got 3 kids, 5 grandbabies. There's a lot going on. But for the most part, I'm like I said, what I always thought normal was, which of course these days everybody knows there's really no such thing as normal. But it's really great. There are groups. There's one national organization, it's called the Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance. They have several groups around the state. You go, it's a peer support group, so there's not like a doctor there or whatever. Everybody there has the problem. There are leaders, of course. I used to facilitate. I was trained to facilitate groups. There's a new group in Charleston. There's one in Buchanan, Wheeling, all over the state. You just go online and look up dbsalliance.org. Tons of information on there. Definitely, if you even think, that maybe, you notice yourself or your friends are like, wow, you're really depressed. Boy, you're really hyper. And just look it up. Do not just sit and wait till you're 46 years old to be diagnosed.
Reporting for WVSU Newsline, I'm Forrest Carter.
I'm glad Barbara got the help she needed. Medicine is really important with addressing these issues.
And you can get more information on bipolar disorder at dbsalliance.org.
Our final story touches on something that you wouldn't think West Virginia is known for.
Chris Canada takes us into the growing hip-hop scene here in West Virginia.
Most would say the West Virginia local hip-hop scene isn't really noticed as much as it should be. Others would say it's finally starting to take off. I met with local artist Dice Game in Stupid Fresh Studios and asked him, why does he do what he does?
Man, I rap because I started off writing poetry since younger, like 12, 13, and I didn't have a lot of mentors and people to talk to express myself, and it just became my go-to, just the way I get my thoughts off, you know what I mean? And start rocking.
I then asked Dice Game what he feels the West Virginia hip-hop scene needs for a local artist to have a breakthrough and get heard by the top guns in the music industry so they can take their craft beyond the mountains in West Virginia.
I think they missing togetherness and unity, like on a wide scale of things. Like places like Atlanta, New York, they're known for their style of music, and they've made so much of an impact on their music that they make the rest of the U.S. or world want to hear it. So we got to do more to support each other, collaborate with each other, and better to make a sound that's like, okay, that's a West Virginia sound and rapper.
Lastly, I asked Dice Game, what does he offer as a hip-hop artist that makes him different and sets him aside from other local artists?
What separates me is that I'm a student of the game. The first thing I look at from my music standpoint is I listen to everything. I listen to reggae, Bob Marley, body and soul, rap, hip. I listen to every genre of music, and that gives me the ability to expand my delivery outside of what rap confines you. Everything about rap is, though, you gotta be hard, tough, and have punchlines, but you also gotta make styles of music that can reach any grouping of people. So I would just say my versatility and just me knowing how to make music and not just rap. Original is how I hit them with the new lines. This for WVSU Newsline.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. It's some of our favorite stories that we've covered this year.
Thanks for watching. For John and myself and the entire Newsline crew, we hope to see you in 2015.